to my channel. I remember when I had my first apartment, like I still think back on that as like just one of the best times of my life. Finally, I had my first apartment all on my own. It was my cute, beautiful little tiny studio and I just loved it. I feel like I grew so much in that time frame and I just, anytime somebody tells me that they're moving out on their own for the first time, I like literally get so excited for them. But also there are so many things that nobody told me and I just feel like you don't learn in school. It's not talked about enough that people need to know. And I am here to teach you today. All right, right off the bat, moving out costs a lot. I think when people think about what do they need in order to move out, they think about their base rent and they're like, okay, if I want an apartment and it's $1,000 a month, I need to be comfortable paying $1,000 a month to live there. Yeah. Not exactly. There are gonna be a lot of additional fees. You're gonna have an application fee. In Chicago, it's usually somewhere between $50 to $75. You might have a security deposit. You might have to pay upfront first and last month's rent. You might have like an administration fee. That's what we do here in Chicago. Long story short, you will have other fees just to lock down the apartment than just the rent. And that's before you even move in. Once you move in, you have to keep in mind that there are utilities. It is super important to figure out what your utilities are before signing your lease. Like do not sign a lease without having a full scope of knowledge of what you're going to have to pay each month. Some standard utilities, water, sewer, trash. Gas is one you're definitely gonna wanna ask about. Gas prices are really high right now. Like we all see it with cars and everything, gas can be expensive. So you're gonna wanna check that one out first. Electric, I've never seen an apartment that's included electric, but like ask that, make sure that you understand that. Internet is a big one. Some apartments in Chicago include internet, most I would say don't. Utilities is a big bundle. When you're living on your own, you have nobody to split those utilities with. Those will all fall on you. So definitely keep that in mind when you're budgeting approximately how much you'll need to spend each month on rent. And when I say rent, like I'm going all in, including your utilities. What's typically recommended for how much you should be spending on your rent, roughly 3 times your monthly income. Let's say you make $50K a year, divide that by 12, $4,166 a month. Divide that by 3, you should be spending $1,388 in my mind, including utilities, a month on your rent at maximum if you're making $50K a year. Depending on some cities, that could be super easily attainable. In others, like Chicago, that could be really tough and you might wanna look the roommate route. One of my biggest tips is do not make yourself house poor. I see this all the time. If you didn't know, I am a real estate agent with Compass. I help people find their apartments. I see so many people who are so excited about it that they shoot for the freaking stars on what they want and they want their dream apartment right now. Keep in mind your first apartment is not your last apartment. Do not make yourself house poor. Make it so that way this is something that you are financially comfortable with. Next year, you can always get an upgrade. But this first year, humble yourself. Get the studio, get the small one, get the cheap one. I lived in a studio that did not have washer and dryer and unit for my first apartment. It wasn't anything crazy to write home about, but I could afford it. There's no way you won't love it because it's just yours. You don't have roommates, you don't have parents. So start small, it'll get better. And because it's your own space, you're going to be happy. Next thing you wanna keep in mind, there are a lot of things that you need to buy when moving out. Even though I say a lot, like don't get caught up in it. You do not need a garlic press and 4 cutting boards when you first move out. You will need a bed. You will probably need a dresser. If you work from home, you're probably gonna need a desk and a chair, but like minimal, keep it very minimal. If you're able to, if you live with family and you have a garage or somewhere that you can start storing things, try and start purchasing the items that you need 6 months in advance, like the big ones, because those are gonna be big expenses. Once you have your big pieces of furniture already laid out, go ahead and start working on the smaller things. Now you'll need sheets if you don't own them, or you'll need cutlery, a set of pots and pans. Literally get 1 pot and 1 pan. You don't need a ton, you can always get more. Just start collecting like the smaller things that you'll need. So that way when it does come time to move in, you aren't having to make all of these purchases all at once because that will feel super overwhelming. Biggest piece of advice here, go to your circle and your sphere of people around you and ask people what they have that they no longer need. I guarantee you that people have like whole pieces of furniture that they're just like, yeah, you know, I don't need this anymore. Congratulations on moving out, take it. Pots and pans, people are always getting rid of their pots and pans, plates, cutlery, like so much stuff. People are getting rid of things all the time. People are donating things all the time. Ask your circle of people what they have that they no longer need and be vulnerable with it. And people are so excited to help. When my husband, we just got married, husband and I got our first place, we didn't have any communal furniture at all. And one of our friends' moms found out that we were moving in together. She gave us so much stuff and she was thrilled to do so. She was so happy. And so that is such a good way to be able to get like so much of your stuff right off the bat. After that, thrift stores, flea markets, thrift stores, garage sales, Facebook Marketplace, buy things used. It is your first apartment. Like I said, it doesn't need to be your perfect apartment. Like, get off TikTok. It doesn't need to be like a beautiful TikTok apartment. It just needs to be somewhere that you love and you're comfortable with. But start small, start basic, start within your financial means. It is your first place. And then if you have more like niche items that you need, IKEA is a really great place for that. I think furniture is probably better off buying used, but like a bunch of your little random stuff, IKEA is great. Like my plate set is still the first plate set that I literally ever got when I first moved out in like 2017, and it's from IKEA and they're fantastic. Paper towel holder, I'm pretty sure it's the same one from IKEA since 2017. Another thing to keep in mind, just as we are talking all things money when it comes to moving out, check your budgets. Like, so many people have ongoing expenses that they don't realize that they're paying for, that they can cut down on when moving out for the first time. So like if you are paying for a mass amount of subscriptions like Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Spotify, see what of these you don't use, and if you do truly use them all, see if you can like pair up with a friend and make it like a family plan so you're paying a little bit less. When moving out, because there are so many expenses that you won't anticipate that first year, you don't want to be cut off guard. So I think the best that you can possibly do to minimize your expenses elsewhere will make you feel so much more comfortable when those do come up. Highly recommend just sitting down, going through your transactions on your credit card or your debit card and being like, these are things that I no longer need. With that, eating out. Eating out is a big one that a lot of people don't think about as much when living alone, because all groceries are being put on yourself instead of like sharing the milk and things like that. It is so important when you move out to be able to be self-sufficient here, because eating out is so expensive. I feel like an old man when I say this, but like in today's economy, like it's so freaking expensive. I don't understand. If you can figure out how to meal plan and make a grocery list and then make basic meals, like tacos with ground turkey are so easy to make, like spaghetti and sauce and some frozen meatballs. Learn how to hard boil an egg. To start with little stepping stones, if you can learn the fundamentals of basic cooking, it is going to save you so much freaking money in your lifetime. You have no idea, because eating out is absurdly expensive, and it might not feel like it every time you make the transaction, but if you look at your budget after a month and you see how much you spent on that, Lord help me, learn how to cook. It is not that hard, I promise. Next thing to keep in mind when moving out, and I feel like this should be known, but I don't know why it came as a surprise to me, but chores. Suddenly, everything is on your plate. You no longer have a roommate to help divvy things up with. Cooking, cleaning, taking the trash out. I hate taking the trash out. Dealing with Amazon boxes, vacuuming, cleaning a shower or a bathtub will be the bane of my existence for the rest of my life. It's like a double-edged sword, because on the plus side, all of the mess within your space is only your mess, but then you're the only person who deals with it as well. If you live in a super small space, I will say it's really, really easy to clean, and so you can get through it really fast, but just everything is on you to do from that point. Dishes, laundry, all of it. So keep that in mind. It is a much higher responsibility than when you were living with other people previously. Also, I remember when I lived alone, I would get so mad because I would lose something in my apartment, and I was like, I'm the only person here. Like, there's nobody else in here for me to blame this on. I don't know where my single red onion went. It's just gone. Things like that, like you just have no one else to blame things on, and so it can get frustrating. On the plus side, you have no roommates in there stealing your red onions and not telling you about it. And the last thing that I want to talk about that I think everybody should do before they move out for the first time, as much as I say like start small, start budget friendly, live within your means, make sure you find somewhere that you feel safe. That's really big. Moving out for your first time, it's different and it can be very intimidating. I highly recommend trying to go by your future apartment at night and making sure that it's somewhere you feel good about. For me personally, I can't stand apartments that have a door like exposed to the street. If someone walking on the street can hit your front door, I don't like that. Like, I need like at least one barrier of entry, like a door into a hallway that's locked before you get to your front door, something like that. Like, that to me is baseline. There's nothing worse in this entire world than going home at night and wanting to be in your safe haven and your space, and the space that you should feel like you are most at peace, and feeling uneasy and thinking that you aren't safe there. So highly, highly, highly recommend do your due diligence, do your research, walk around it at night, ask other people, find somewhere that you really will feel good about putting your head on the pillow at night. All right, guys, that was my video on all things you need to know about moving out or renting your first apartment for the first time. I hope this helped. If you are watching this and you're moving out soon, congratulations, because that's so exciting. It is such an exciting time in your life. Soak up every minute of it. Take the selfie of you in your apartment for the first night, because that's huge. It's such a huge accomplishment. It really, really is. And if you're not proud of yourself, I'm proud of you. If you have any tips that you want other people to consider, please comment them down below. If you like this video and videos like this, please hit that big red subscribe button, and I post videos 2 times a week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.